Flight environment check. Please check the weather conditions before flying. Do not fly in the following types of extreme weather: wind, rain, snow, dense fog, high and low temperature, and other environments. Do not fly near high voltage lines, communication base stations, signal towers, or tall buildings. There is a lot of interference in such environment, which may seriously affect the remote controller signal and GNSS signal. The flight distance and positioning accuracy will decrease. In severe cases, it may result in poor positioning performance or the inability to locate the drone. When flying at high altitudes above 3,000 meters, the power system of the drone may be affected to a certain extent. Please fly with caution. Please fly in an open and unobstructed environment. Always monitor the flight altitude and environment, and stay away from people, animals, and cars. Pre-flight preparation and check. Ensure that the arms are unfolded correctly. Ensure the battery is securely installed. Ensure the propellers and screws are not loose or deformed. After checking the above details, power on the drone and the remote controller. Place the drone on a flat surface. Wait for the drone to complete the search for GNSS signal to enter GNSS mode until the app prompts that it's permitted to take off. Pay attention to the height of surrounding obstacles before takeoff. Ensure that all RTH parameters are correctly set. Go to Settings. Find Drone Behavior on Signal Lost, Minimum Return Altitude, and Virtual Fence under Safety. The minimum return altitude must be set higher than the highest obstacle. This is to ensure flight safety. Set the altitude and distance of the virtual fence within the limits allowed by local laws and regulations. Set drone behavior on signal lost based on the environment or specific requirement. The default setting is Return to Home. Return to home on signal lost when manually triggering RTH. If the current flight altitude is lower than the preset return altitude, the drone will automatically ascend to the preset return altitude before returning. If the current flight altitude is higher than the preset return altitude, the drone will maintain its current altitude and return. In the event of disconnection between the drone and the remote controller during flight, the drone will automatically ascend to 120 meters, then fly straight back to the home point and land. Land on signal lost. In the event of disconnection between the drone and the remote controller during flight, the drone will not return to the home point. Instead, it will land automatically. If the drone reconnects to the remote controller, it will cancel the landing process and hover in place. Hover on signal lost. In the event of disconnection between the drone and the remote controller during flight, the drone will not return to the home point. Instead, it will hover in place. Waits to reconnect to the remote controller. If the drone cannot reconnect to the remote controller, the forced landing will be triggered when the battery level of the drone is too low. Once all the above checks are completed, you can unlock the motors and launch the drone. Please pay attention to the home point after takeoff. Flight precautions. During flight, always keep an eye on the drone's position. The remote controller antenna plane must be aligned with the drone's direction. This can ensure optimal transmission range. By monitoring the map/attitude indicator in the lower left corner of the flight interface. When the remote controller is not aligned with the drone's direction, the icon will be blue. Once aligned, the icon color will turn green. If the app prompts a low battery RTH during flight, please promptly confirm and initiate the return. During the return, if the attitude indicator frequently shows red, the drone may be encountering strong winds. If the flight path is safe, reduce the return altitude appropriately. If the remaining battery is insufficient for returning to the takeoff point, or if other unforeseen situations occur, please take manual control immediately. Guide the drone to the nearest safe landing spot. After landing, use Find My Drone to locate the drone.